Hi, this is Ron Edwards, Master Sommelier and Director of Wine Education for Winebo Fine Wine and Spirits. Today we're going to talk about a wine from Australia, from South Australia, and specifically we're going to be talking about the region of Coonawarra, which is in the Limestone Coast in the southeast of the state of South Australia. This region is known for the Coonawarra Terra Rossa strip of soil. Terra Rossa is an iron-rich surface layer with a calcrete, a limestone formation underneath, which is a really magical place to grow grapes because it gives you both drainage and it gives you water retention at the same time, and the minerality of the topsoils give you a different character to the final wine. We're going to talk specifically today about Yalumba, the Menzies vineyard, Cabernet Sauvignon, and this is the 2017 vintage. Menzies vineyard was planted to Cabernet Sauvignon in 1975. It's been sourced by Yalumba since nearly the beginning, and then they came into ownership of it in the 80s. The wines coming from this vineyard are deep and rich and beautiful. It is such a great place to grow Cabernet Sauvignon. Let's find out what we have. Rich blueberry, blackberry, there's some boysenberry in there, black currant juice. There's a very subtly included bitter chocolate aroma profile. There's some cedar hiding in the background. And right now, this wine is compact and difficult to pull apart. So this is going to take some time. Opening up a little bit more now, there's an herbal side to this wine, which is really classic for Coonawarra. It's both mint and a eucalyptus in a savory way, not this super powerful aromatherapy kind of thing, really inviting and perfumed in a very attractive way. There is presence of oak in the nose, threads of vanilla and baking spices. This wine is very normal for what Yalumba does, which is not use oak as a major. It's always window dressing. And in this particular case, you're talking about, 38%, 34% new oak French that's either hogsheads or barriques, and then 2% new oak that's Hungarian-based oak. And then that's for 18 months. And then after that, the wine is aged one more year in a variety of used oak barrels. So they want to have the oxidative effect to soften the wine, but they really don't want to impart a bunch of oak-driven flavor profile, which makes me really happy because Coonawarra should stand on its own. It doesn't need to be slathered with vanilla and cinnamon and clove to be interesting. It actually downplays some of the subtleties of the region that way. It's just getting richer on the nose. The black currants coming through more, and there's actually even black currant leaf, like you're picking the currants on the bush. There's a light smoky note. That dusty cocoa powder is really kind of being a little less bitter now and a little more almost hot chocolate. Cedar. There's a spicy pepper note alongside of the mint and the eucalyptus. It just smells fabulous. Let's taste it. This wine is wonderful. It's savory and it's fruity and it's a little salty all together. So the fruit's very similar. It's fresh boysenberry, fresh blackberry, black currant juice. The mint and eucalyptus just kind of weaves in and out of the fruit profile. There's this beautiful sort of sea salt overtone to the fruit, which adds a lot of interest for me in the flavor profile and acts kind of as a foil to balance the wine. The cedar is coming through now, that bitter chocolate is coming through now. The structure of the wine is deceptive. It feels so elegant that at first you think, well, maybe this isn't that bold or tannic, but as time goes by, the tannin impression grows as the acidity subsides. And one of the things that you really want to note on this wine is how wonderfully refreshing it is. It comes to the table with enough tartness to truly prickle on your palate while it's giving you all this other richness. It has that same sort of effect as traditional thought process on the way we taste Bordeaux. And the tech sheet sort of supports that at a 3.57 pH and 13.5% alcohol. that is kind of a traditional Bordeaux number. So expect this wine to be far more towards the elegant side and not really this big, powerful New World Cabernet. Wonderful layers keep coming through here, and all the things I've talked about just sort of slide through and then come back and slide through. On second sip, the wine is really showing its real structure now, and it's gripping, and it's got a boldness that's that very typical kind of concept of the iron fist and the velvet glove kind of feel. The wine, I wouldn't say is velvety, it's more satiny in texture, but it has that wonderfully balanced powdery coating tannin to balance out that tart forest fruit and the silkiness, satiny nature of the texture. This is an absolutely fabulous world-class Cabernet Sauvignon with great aging potential. If you're a collector and you want to put wines away for the future, this wine is going to age really well. I wouldn't hesitate to say this wine will be gorgeous at 20 years plus vintage, and maybe even longer depending on how you store it. Go treat yourself to the experience of Yalumba Menzies Cabernet Sauvignon from Coonawarra. This is a 2017 bottling, but every vintage I've tasted is fabulous.